Hello, everybody listening in online, and thank you to anyone who has attended these prenatal sessions online. I'm so grateful for you showing up. It's a big ask to sit through an hour-long presentation, but I hope this prenatal series has been helpful or you learned something new, or if it was a refresher. I'm just so happy you're here. So, today we are talking about a big topic that's very close to my heart. I'm very passionate about. It's car seat safety. And for context, I am a certified child passenger safety technician, otherwise known as a CPSD or car seat tech. I didn't know this was a thing when I had my daughter in her car seat or just the world about car seat safety. I really didn't know anything about it. And um, it's a big passion of mine because for as a personal story, I'll show shortly. I do have a photo of my newborn back then. We're taking her home for the first time, and I didn't know that she was so poorly fitted in her car seat. And uh, as much as nurses do so much at the hospital, I have so much respect for them. Unfortunately, public healthcare doesn't fund for proper training in car seat safety. So a lot of misinformation or old, outdated information gets passed on from workers and down. So anything that I can do to help catch folks in the prenatal time is really the best time to learn and ask about all the things around car seat safety or baby safety in general. And so I'm on a mission to just talk to whoever is open to learning about car seat safety so you don't make the mistakes that I did. And while I don't see it as a mistake because, we did have the benefit of doubt of someone else showing us that we had a car seat, unfortunately, they didn't have the knowledge to really safely have babies in car seats. So today's presentation will be a mix of what CIPSAC, which is the Child Passenger Safety Association of Canada, has put together, and it's nice and simple. And I'll also show live demonstration of all these different car seats that I have for a demo. But let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'll flip through when I'm not sharing my screen. That way you can see everything in place. So hopefully that's visible, and I want to make sure that I can see any chats come through as well. Okie dokie. So I think I'm all set up. Please give me a thumbs up if you can see my perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is our presentation from CIPSAC. Why is car seat safety so important? Car crashes are the #1 cause of death due to unintentional injury in children aged 1 to 14. No one plans to get in a car accident, right? And or collisions. And unfortunately, it just takes a split second for everything to shift. So car seats are a safety device. It is not just a comfortable seat for your baby or kids. It is a safety device, very similar to if you were to look at a life jacket. It's not just a jacket, it is a life-saving safety device. So that is the change in language that I am wanting folks to understand why car seat safety and knowing how to use your car seat properly is so important. There is a difference of best practice for your car seat and what is the law. So in terms of the law, it is for children that need to be in car seats or babies need to be in car seats. That is the law for their safety in Canada. If you are traveling internationally or from even province to province may have different laws in terms of requirements for car seats. Say if you were to use a taxi or Uber or Lyft or something like that, you want to just get familiar with what is the law in that province or that country. And if you are driving in within BC, it is required that a child is in their appropriate car seat, or if it is a child that is past the booster setting or forward-facing car seat, that they are using their seatbelt. That is a law. But in terms of best practices, there is various things that differ and vary because of each car seat, whether it's fit appropriately in the vehicle or depending on the child's weight, height, developmental readiness for the next stage of car seats. So you can do a quick search within Canada. Transport Canada is the federal legislation or legislating body that creates legislation or law around anything around transportation from air, land, and sea. But say if you were to go traveling, always check the requirements under Transport Canada or the airlines of what is required for, in general law. Transport Canada is your way to go. And then best practices, these are everyday practices to check to make sure that your car seat is fit properly for your vehicle and also your child. So what seat is appropriate? There are so many seats out on the market. Where do you begin? And it's very overwhelming going into a baby shop and then you're seeing a whole row of car seats. I totally get it. I was super overwhelmed and didn't understand the differences. I would really question for a lower price car seat, does that mean it's not safe? But if for a super expensive car seat, does that mean it's more safe? No, I'm just going to debunk that myth that more expensive does not mean more safe, or the lower pricing range doesn't mean less safe, or if it doesn't have all these bells and whistles. All car seats in Canada have to go through Transport Canada to receive a safety rating, and each manufacturer has to pass the safety rating under Transport Canada. And so I'll stop sharing my screen just to show a real car seat and what to look for. So for a car seat to be legally approved for use in Canada, it has to have something called the National Safety Mark. So if you have a car seat in front of you and you want to check out your car seat, on either the base or bottom of your car seat, there will be a maple leaf sticker right on your car seat. This is called the National Safety Mark, or NSM, and this is what Transport Canada will slap on approved car seats that are legally approved for use in Canada. Manufacturers have to go through the same crash testing in order to get this seal, so it does not matter if there is a more high-end car seat or a lower car seat. They all go through the same approved testing to ensure that it is safe and legally approved for use in Canada. So we'll just start off right away because I'm here. But the various different types of car seats that are available, this one I'm showing you here is called a rear-facing only RFO car seat, otherwise known as a bucket seat. And this is commonly used for children from the newborn stage and only in rear-facing mode. So it also often comes with a base. Now, before I show the base, I'll kind of show the different parts of a bucket seat. Oftentimes, bucket seats also have the compatibility to install it baseless, so you don't have to use the base in order to install it. And you can use the seatbelt method, or if it has a base, we can use the UAS, Universal Anchorage System, or the latch that would go into the vehicle, and the base would stay in the car. So with a infant bucket seat RFO, please do read for all car seats. I know for majority of the stuff that we own at home, we don't read the manual, but when it comes to car seat safety, please read your manual. And whether you were gifted a car seat secondhand or you purchased a car seat brand new, register your car seat with the Canadian version of the manufacturer. So in the event that the manufacturer has a recall or a part that needs to be replaced or something different that the manufacturer has found that the car seat isn't performing to the optimal level that they would like, according to the safety standards of Transport Canada, you'll be notified right away. They don't send you marketing and things like that. It's just to keep you updated that your safety device is, one, safe to use, and two, it's up to par with the requirements for safety. So register your car seat. With the manual, there will always be in Canada, there will be a French version and a English version. Take whichever manual is your language of choice. There is also, if you don't have the physical paper manual, you can download the digital copy. But again, make sure you go on the Canadian version of the manufacturer's website, or you can contact the chat support and get you request for them to give you a digital copy of the Canadian version and just mention that you are in Canada. The reason I say this is because oftentimes I see people get a really sweet deal in the States, and then, I mean, probably not now because of the tariff wars kind of stopped. But if we were to, there's a great deal in the States. Unfortunately, it is not approved to be used for use in Canada. So if you are going to be in Canada for the foreseeable future, please purchase or get a car seat that is approved for use in Canada by checking for that national safety mark. And other parts of the infant bucket seat, there will be various parts that are included. So some bucket seats, they have extra cushioning for, say, a premature baby, or they have different, this one is missing one, but shoulder pads. Again, read your manual of what is required, and manuals are very good about language. So there will be very obvious words such as must, never, so speaking in absolutes, or there's more passive language saying could or can, or there is also recommended as well. So there's different variants of language, but please look out for mandatory words. That is how the manufacturer has done their crash testing, and you're using the car seat accordingly to keep your baby safe. Now, with this bucket seat in particular, there will be a flap or maybe potentially an option to roll up the head cushioning of the car seat. We want baby to be, actually have my demo baby, but there are a few parts to look out for when your baby is properly fitted in the car seat. Now, I know this is tricky when you don't have a baby in front of you, so you can definitely practice with a stuffed animal, or if you can borrow someone's baby, a friend's baby. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get putting your baby in and out of the car seat. So this is my demo baby, Creepy Carl. And going back to the car seat, for infant bucket seats that have this handle, very important to check your manual on how the manufacturer would like the handle placed, because depending on the manufacturer or the brand, they have different placements. So for this one, when the car seat is in use or in the car ready to ride, this manufacturer in particular would like the handle to be in this position. Sometimes they call it position A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Double check your manual on how the manufacturer would like the handle placement, because this acts as a rebound bar. In the event of a collision, everything goes towards the collision. And when we want kiddos in rear facing as long as possible, and we'll touch upon when to look out for the next stage of a car seat, but double check on how they would like the car seat or their handle placed. For this car seat, they have 4 different modes. So this one is when we're ready to ride. This one is carry position, or this one is compatible with a stroller, or if the stroller has adapters. This is to click in the stroller. So for a travel system, that might be an option. This position is to keep it out of the way, so you can have put baby in and out. And a big tip that I have when putting your baby, newborn, in their car seat for the first time, if your car seat has a handle, put it to the lowest position, like so, and you're always looking for those clicks. You want to make sure that the handle is flat to the ground. That way, say in this position, the car seat's rolling, side to side, and if, say, baby is securely in the seat already, sure, you can use it to lightly rock. But when you're putting baby in for the first time, the floor is actually the safest to have the car seat on the floor, and then putting your baby down in the car seat. Only because if it is an elevated surface and you or your partner or whoever were to look away for a split second, the distance from an elevated surface to the ground is very dangerous. So another pet peeve I see all the time, no, hopefully actually not all the time, but I see it time and time, where in a restaurant, people come in with a bucket seat and they want their baby to be, elevated at table level. So I see them put two chairs together, and then they put the car seat right in between. And it takes 2 seconds for someone to, just accidentally bump into the car seat, and then the car seat will fall to the ground with your baby. So if you don't have a stroller or a container, baby container is what they call it, essentially a safe place for baby to be in. If it's just the car seat, please keep your baby in their car seat on the floor in the position to keep the car seat stabilized. So the lowest position like so. And that way, even if someone were to accidentally bump or slide, that they're not going to be tumbling or not on an elevated surface. Now, going back to the fitting with Carl here. So Carl is about a 4 or 5 monther. So for those expectant folks, a giant baby like this will not exit out of you, I promise. I mean, there are big babies, but Carl's a big one. But for a proper fitting for a newborn, we want to ensure, just give myself a little bit more space here. There are a few checks that we want to have for a proper fitting. So if your car seat has a flap or a handle to move the headrest, we want about 1 inch of space from the top of baby's head from either the shell of the car seat. So this one has a separate head rest attachment, but for those that don't have it, we want, 1 inch of space from the top of baby's head from the top of the headrest. This is to ensure that there's side impact protection for the side of baby's head. So for Carl here, I'm just gonna pop in, and then for car seats, we always want to make sure that it's secure with a click. So from here, you will quickly be comfortable with whether you want the have the chest clip first or the crotch buckle first. Again, practice makes perfect when it comes to fittings. There will always be a little button either in front or sometimes it's kind of tucked away in the side here for loosening the harness. But to loosen the harness, you want to click that or press on that button, pull forward, and that way it'll be nice and loose. A nice tip is that if you have a screaming baby, give the baby a couple minutes, especially if it's in between feeds or if you are traveling to your appointment or whatnot, especially with a newborn, give yourself an extra at least 20, 30 minutes because you will be late for everything. That's a big lesson I learned very quickly. Even if it's like a 15-minute drive away, it takes like an hour plus to get anywhere with a newborn. So that's a tip for you. And planning between feeds and whatnot. So from here, you're going to, again, either put the crotch buckle first, and we want the crotch buckle harness to be over the hip. Oftentimes I see people kind of doing this bungee jump kind of situation with the harness under their legs, have their strap, the hip strap over their hip. Oh, perfect. Plushy courtesy of hubby. That's awesome. Great practice. So harness over the hip, and then chest clip. We can start low at first, but this chest clip will need to, eventually it'll be the last step of securing the harness, but to take some slack out of the hip, you're just pushing into that crotch buckle. And the placement of the crotch buckle as your baby grows, we don't want it essentially pushing outwards. So that's a sign that maybe if your car seat has an additional section where you can extend the crotch buckle, oftentimes it can be changed in the bottom here. So to remove it, you can pull the crotch buckle, the bottom of the plate, and then switch it, and then that way you can feed it through and then have it extended that way as your baby grows. From here, so we have so removing some slack. We don't want it so tight that, again, some good indications. Babies are very quick to tell us what they don't like, so we don't need it crazy tight, but we don't want it so loose that their leg goes through on the other side, and it's not secure. So snug enough that it will stay in place. From here, we are doing something called the pinch test. So back in the day, I guess, I mean, the fact that any of us survived past the 80s and 90s is beyond me because car seats weren't really a thing back then. But they used to say put two fingers between the straps, and then if there's enough space for the two fingers to go, that's tight enough. But your hands are different than my hands. Everybody's hands are different. So having what's called a pinch test. So you are taking a pinch of the fabric right at the shoulder, and we're pulling the strap tighter. Just kind of juggling here. So we can't do a pinch at the fabric or have any fabric between our fingers anymore. This is because we want it snug, that it's nice and flat, but it can't fall over their shoulders. And that's where the chest clip comes in. Now the chest clip is the last piece where we want it high enough to the armpit length. This is called the tickle test. And so you're taking your hands, and as if you're tickling someone or tickling your baby, the chest clip will hit right at the side of your hands. This is to ensure that the harness won't go over the shoulder, and in the event of a sudden movement, that they are still secure in their seat. Some babies are, again, very sensitive to certain fabrics. So if you have a car seat that has extra shoulder pads, again, read your manual, but most they aren't required unless there are specifications on your manual indicating what is required for a premature baby or a baby of a certain weight. There's potentially extra cushioning. But speaking of cushioning, please, if you do need additional cushioning, follow or purchase cushioning under the same manufacturer, because there's a lot of off-market items, or I've seen for winter babies, people kind of get this kind of snow sleeping bag situation for car seats, thinking that it's warmer for baby. Please follow what the manufacturer has provided in your car seat, because that is how they did their crash testing, and that's how they did their safety testing. So if we're having for those in the room, we're having a summer baby, so maybe one or two layers will do the trick. But if you do find that it gets a little drafty, or you think baby's cold, you can take your blanket or whatnot, nice thin blanket like this, fold it up, and have the blanket over the harness, not under, because putting the blanket or anything under will add surface area to the not getting a proper pinch test. So if your baby's cold, put socks, or crank up the heat in the car. And then I like to just kind of tuck it on the side, and likely in the first little while, yourself or another caregiver would be sitting in the back with baby anyway. So another, let's see, so kind of points of check. So we have, let's take this away. We have the hip nice and secure, pinch test at the shoulder, crotch, or the chest clip right at that tickle test area. Headrest is sitting about 1 inch from the top of baby's head to the top of the headrest. If you aren't sure how to adjust the headrest, either please read your manual, or you can always double check with the manufacturer. They have a great, pretty much all manufacturers have a very quick response time for their products. So please reach out to them. And then check your car seat for the proper placement of the handle and see where they would like it. Some car seats may come with a load leg on the base. We'll go over that in a second. This car seat also has a little canopy, so for summer babies, it's really nice. I also caution for summer babies, or when it's really hot, but it's like really sunny or whatnot. Unfortunately, I see this happening a lot, where a blanket is draped over. While it seems nice and shady, it does actually create like a greenhouse effect for baby. So please try to avoid having cloth or anything. Again, follow manufacturers' guidelines, but for having draped fabrics, it kind of creates like a greenhouse effect, and you also can't visibly see your baby properly. So that is the tip I have. Now, just closing off the last bit on RFOs that come with bases. So for that car seat, this is a base, and each base is different in terms of how they adjust the recline bubble. So the parts of the base, you will see this is called a recline bubble. So for this one, for newborns, we want it at the highest recline level. So this one has a little button in the front, but for others, they may have a little clicker or bubble, or every manufacturer product is different. So just double check your manual on how you can adjust the recline. This one comes with this is a UAS, Universal Anchorage System. So it kind of looks like this. And there's different latches as well. This one I kind of tend to say shark tooth, just because that's the proper placement. In your vehicle, there will be sometimes a little button or a section with a little anchor, it looks like a little sailboat anchor. That shows that there is a UAS anchor where these anchors go. So when you locate the anchor in your vehicle, pull the UAS strap and then click it shark tooth down, and then click it until you hear a audible click. From there, when you put the base in, either we're doing something called a lemon squeezy, where you are going side to side and you're clicking into the base into the seat bite. So I'll just try to show, I don't have a vehicle seat with me, but imagine if this is your car, your vehicle seat. We're taking the base, and because we're rear facing, you also want to see the placement of how the manufacturer shows that it's secure. So this one has a little indicator that will turn green if it's correctly installed. And some car seats also have a little bubble maybe in the middle to show for a baby between a certain weight, say if it's a newborn from 4 pounds upwards to maybe 11 pounds, that the bubble needs to hit at that level. As your baby grows, then you can potentially increase or decrease the incline. And then again, check for the manufacturer's guidelines on how to do that. So what I was saying is if you decide on the UAS install, we're pushing into the bite of the seat and then clicking until you don't hear any clicks anymore. Or some car seats, they will have, maybe not, if you don't want to use the UAS, you can do the seatbelt method, which you're pulling the seatbelt, feeding it through. This one has something called a lock off. So you would pull the lock off and you would follow the area that this one says belt here. Can't really see, but it says belt here. So if you were to use a seatbelt, you would feed the seatbelt through this belt, click it in until you get that green, and then lock it in place. From there, you're taking your non-dominant hand and wiggling the seat side to side, forward and back. So not at the front here, but you're taking, again, why we say non-dominant hand is that the car seat doesn't have to be cemented into the seat. We want enough, I mean, there are really great seats where, or fits where, you're not getting much movement, but what we're aiming for is less than 1 inch of movement. So you would take your non-dominant hand side to side, forward, back. So we don't want kind of like this situation happening. But in the event of a collision, we want the car seat to absorb the shock of the impact so it doesn't hit baby. That is the intention of a car seat in general, that the car seat is absorbing the shock of the collision. So again, if it's cemented in, oftentimes I see people thinking to use a UAS anchor and a seatbelt, thinking it's more secure. But currently, I believe there's only one car seat on the market that allows for that, but it really depends on how it fits in the vehicle. So it's one or the other, and how you decide on whether a UAS is better or a seatbelt is better
you would have to check in terms of when you install it that you're getting less than 1 inch of movement side to side, forward and back. Again, you don't have to do it here because the base, or sorry, the bite of the seat is where we want to ensure there's less than 1 inch of movement. For car seats that have a load leg, it's essentially a long rod that fits on sort of upright and at a 90-degree angle. You can check your manual to see the guideline or the requirements for that. Sometimes they have another green indicator, and some car seats will also require that the floor mats of the vehicle need to be removed in order to be installed. And whenever a car seat has a load leg, I recommend use it. It's there. And again, a load leg, the purpose of the load leg is to absorb the shock of a collision. So ones that don't have it doesn't mean that they're less safe. It's just how that particular manufacturer has done their crash testing, and they've utilized a load leg as an additional piece. I'll just pause there for a bit. I know that was a lot of information. If you have any questions, but that's typically for a RFO rear-facing bucket seat, how to set up the base. And the benefit of having an RFO with a base is that the base stays in the vehicle the whole time. So if you envision, doing a lot of stroller walks or going for, quick drives or whatnot, you don't have to install this every single time, right? And similar for like a combination car seat, but you would keep the base in the vehicle and then just click the seat right in and out. So that's a great option if you are imagining being with baby out and about. That's great. And what was I going to say about RFOs? I think that's about it. Unless anyone has any questions, I'll make sure anything comes. And what else? I think that's a bit about it for RFOs. So, great option to practice. Oh, that's what I want to say. For those that are expecting, a tip that I have is if you do want to experience labor and, you can actually, if you have enough space, potentially putting your car seat in the trunk and leaving the base as is, so you don't have, your partner or another caregiver doesn't have to worry about installing again. But I would recommend being in the back seat and being on all fours, because to sit upright in the front while you're in labor is very, very uncomfortable. So if you get maybe 2 or 3, however many pillows in the car on the base, and you can just kind of be in all fours, that's a great tip, to just be in the back. And hopefully the drive isn't too bumpy, but yeah, sitting upright while you're in labor is no fun. So another plus for RFOs with a base, that it's nice and low, stack some pillows, and then just kind of use it as a extra cushioning while you're making your way to the hospital. Now, the next, oh, actually, I forgot to mention, this is for all car seats, but another thing that you want to look out for in your car seat is that there is typically a sticker on the side of your car seat that indicates the weight and height requirements that or the limits that the car seat can be used in rear facing mode, or for the others forward facing and or booster. So for RFOs for this car seat, it could be used from 4 to 35 pounds upwards to 32 inches in height. So for context, my now 3-year-old is about 25 pounds. So while age isn't necessarily a factor to show the growth or the stage at which you should upgrade, you want to look for the limitations of your particular car seat and what the allowance is for the weight and height requirements. Most babies would likely outgrow the height first, because every kiddo grows at different speeds. But for an RFO bucket seat, usually they'll outgrow the height before, even maxing on the weight. So that's another tip to look out for. Okay, so the next one we have here, and speeding past this because we have a lot to cover, but this is a combination car seat or convertible car seat, which is eligible for rear facing or forward facing. The plus about these combination car seats is that it grows with your child, and then you can use it from the newborn stage all the way to when they're ready to forward face, and we'll talk about that. You'll notice that this car seat doesn't have a handle, and that is how the manufacturer has essentially designed their car seat. Again, that doesn't mean that it's less safe because it doesn't have the rebound bar, but these car seats are great if you're traveling. You can use it on the aircraft, similar to the bucket seat, but bucket seats tend to be quite expensive, or there's a lot of parts to it. So, and especially if you plan on bringing the base, but these convertible car seats, you can, it's quite light as well, so great for grandparents too, who, if you plan on getting support from additional family members, it switches pretty easily between cars. And for these car seats, very similar. Again, there is the ability to change the headrest placement. So for a newborn, we have multiple stages. Again, it very depends on each manufacturer, but check for where the headrest needs to fall. So we get 1 inch of space from the top of baby's head to the top of the headrest. This car seat in particular has what's called a continuous loop harness. So essentially, instead of 2 parts, it's 1 long thread. And how it's adjusted is at the back here, there's a little anchor, which you can switch between the various slots. So for a newborn, it would be at the lowest slot. As your baby grows, it would be middle and then upwards. And for rear facing mode, we want to ensure that the harness is what's called at or below the shoulder. For the first time I heard that, I didn't understand what do you mean by at or below. But if we were to take, this is just a bag strap, but actually I use this. So if this was the harness, we want, it doesn't help that I'm wearing black, but let's just like that. Harness is essentially cupping the shoulder. Eventually, when your child grows to be ready for forward facing, then we say at or above, and it sort of fits like a seatbelt would. But for rear facing, we want it at or below, and that way the shoulder straps are cupping their shoulders to ensure that it won't flip over their shoulders. And then again, there are parts included for newborn setting, and then double checking the manufacturer on, certain seats will have indication of when, you can remove extra cushioning. So always double check what the fabric says, or also the manual. One thing with car seats in general, I know I'm flipping a little bit, but in terms of the care of car seats, please follow your manufacturer's instructions on how to care for your car seats. There will be poop blowouts, there will be vomit, there will be just things that kiddos have that can get on the car seat, but not all manufacturers allow for the car seat fabric to just be plopped in the washing machine, and people think that using, say, baking soda and vinegar will get smells out and whatnot, but certain detergents or even baking soda and vinegar can deteriorate the fabric and also the performance of the car seat if it deteriorates the tension of say like the harness. And some car seats also have different fabric technology such as flame retardants that if your car seat is damaged, that it's protecting the car seat. Of course, I mean, you would probably use a car seat that was in a fire, but when it comes to insurance, it can help just minimize the damage and
protect the quality of the car seat as best as possible. So follow your manual on cleaning instructions. If you were to get a car seat secondhand, ensure that it's from a trusted source or that they can confirm that the car seat was never in a collision or accident and that they followed the manufacturer's care instructions in the manual and didn't just throw it in the wash with, baking soda, bleach, or any harsh chemicals that could potentially deteriorate the performance of the car seat. So next up, we'll still talk about rear facing a little bit, but for combination car seats, the harness can be adjusted for forward facing. And again, there's stickers on the side to show the indication of the weight or height of when a car seat is ready to be used for forward facing. For forward facing position, there will be a tether. So a tether is an additional latch that's usually at the top, and you want to cross-reference your vehicle owner's manual to see the placement of where your tethers are in your vehicle. Tethers help to ensure that in the event of a collision, that the car seat and your baby or your child will stay in the car seat and not be flung forward. I will share my screen just for a video that shows why it is safest to keep your kiddos in rear facing as long as possible. Again, another back in the day thing is that people think that when their kid, hits 2 years old, that they're ready for forward facing, but not every 2-year-old grows the same way. But also I'll show you very quickly here a video that just goes to show how rear facing is known to be safest for littles because they don't have the bone density to withstand the impact of a collision where everything is going frontal. And for even any loose parts in the vehicle, we're human, we have maybe a water bottle here or a tissue box here, but in a collision, everything adds double the weight. And if we don't have the proper placement of a car seat, everything will go right to your baby. So this video here is a very quick video just to show the difference of a frontal collision and the placement of this. This is a dummy baby and this is a crash test. So I'll go ahead and play that. So on your left, you'll see a rear-facing crash, a rear-facing car seat, and then on the right, you'll see a forward-facing. So I'll play it again. So we can see here, just with the dummy vehicle or a dummy child, everything's kind of going forward in the right here, forward facing, and you can see the spinal difference of that collision. We can deal with, bumps or bruises, but broken bones or really serious collisions that would affect the head, neck, or spine, it could be fatal. So until your baby is ready for forward facing, where they are maxing out on the rear facing mode of your car seat, please keep your babies in rear facing as long as possible. Not by age, but just again, readiness that they have surpassed the rear facing weight or height, that they're ready. Their readiness is showing that they can sit upright for an extended period of time, and that they again meet the guidelines that is required by the manufacturer for forward facing. I'll go just skim through my presentation here. Oops. So we talked about various actually, sorry, I'm just going to show you one more car seat for those that have their own car seat and they're maybe shopping around, or maybe they're looking at one to be gifted. This is oops, switch this a little bit heavier. This is a combination car seat. So a combination car seat is one that can be used in rear facing mode for newborns up until booster setting. Booster setting is essentially an extra cushioning to raise the child up so they can appropriately have the seatbelt in place and they're not using the harness for forward facing mode. Again, always I feel like I'm kind of a
broken record, but please do read your manual on the proper placement of different parts of the car seat for a combination car seat. If it's in rear facing, some will, or forward facing even, some will have these snack cups. They're not just cute little snack cups that, you know, you can have, you know, your bottle of water or snacks for baby or your kiddo. They do act as rebound bars as well. So always follow the manufacturer's guidelines on how to put in just, you know, your cup holders, and that they are required. Usually they will say required to be used in rear facing or whatever forward facing mode. And know the proper placement of the headrest, which can again grow with as your child baby, right? Your grows. So that's it for the types of car seats. Go back to sharing my screen here for any other things. This is just an image of a rear-facing child with the harness, so you can see proper placement of the chest clip right at that tickle test. They look pretty comfortable and pretty happy to be in their car seat. So, yeah, we'll talk about forward-facing. So you can kind of see the difference. Flipping back here, you'll see that the rear-facing mode, it is at or below, so it's just cupping the shoulders. For forward-facing mode, we're at or above because this child is forward-facing and they are likely hitting the readiness factor for forward-facing mode. And another question I get is, where do I put my car seat in the car? So a great tip is to read your vehicle owner's manual. So some car seat or cars, they will indicate what is appropriate for, it's in the child restraint system section in your vehicle owner's manual. Each vehicle manual or vehicle manufacturer will have guidelines on where a child restraint system can be used, whether it's the outbound seats with a UAS latch, or oftentimes the center seat. If your vehicle has a center seat, the UAS cannot be used, and therefore the seatbelt needs to be used, because in the center position, it cannot withstand the impact of say a frontal collision for the car seat to be used in UAS latch. So please check your vehicle owner's manual to double check on how the manufacturer has done their own crash testing for child restraint systems. Very rarely we ever see a car seat being in the front passenger seat. Of course, it's highest risk of you know, a car seat baby being in the front. Perhaps a truck, maybe an exception, or a sports car or something like that, in which case if a car seat does need to be in the front, the airbag system needs to be shut off. We don't want airbags getting close to any kiddos because they don't have the bone density to withstand not only the impact of the collision, but the sheer impact of an airbag, which is only intended to for an adult to withstand that impact. So everything else, the car seat will absorb that shock. So please read your vehicle owner's manual to cross-reference on where the placement is. There's no safer spot. It's how the car seat is installed and used every single ride. So that makes sense. We talked about the UAS, the less than with the non-dominant hand, less than 1 inch of spacing, the appropriate angle of for rear-facing mode, and then eventually when you're at the forward-facing mode and your child hitting all the requirements for forward-facing, to use that tether every time as well. We also talked about the buckling in for rear-facing for babies. We again want to check the at or below placement for rear-facing kiddos. Pinch test right at the shoulder, chest clip at that tickle test arm, and then the crotch buckle position that is not pulling forward and uncomfortable for baby. I'll just skip this booster method because I think the majority are expectant parents, but if you are ever unsure about the placement or the fit of your car seat for your baby, CPSAC, so cpsac.org, that is the website where you can find a technician in your area. Car seat techs are passionate people who are
parents or caregivers or just people that are very passionate about car seat safety. So many of them, are wanting to just talk about car seats, and there are volunteers, and you can find a car seat technician who you can work with to check your car seat and that it's appropriate for your baby and or your vehicle if you're expecting that you have everything ready to go for your expectant baby. And I'm just skipping this part because this is readiness for a seatbelt, which for older kiddos that have passed the booster setting, that they're showing readiness to have a regular seatbelt. We talked about the pinch test. So the reason why we don't want bulky clothing is that it adds surface area to not be able to get a proper pinch test. So just 1 or 2 layers, then well-fitting layers. We don't want layers that are too big, and then baby is swimming in their super big clothes. So that way you can get a proper pinch test and placement of all the checks. The pinch test at the shoulder, chest clip, and the crotch buckle over the hips for proper placement. We also talked about the National Safety Mark for confirming that car seats are approved for use in Canada. So if you're either gifted a car seat or you find a car seat, say, on Facebook Market or something, ask all these questions of visually try to look for the National Safety Mark. It's approved for use in Canada. Confirm that it has never been in a collision, and that the person who owned it had followed the proper care instructions for their car seat based on their manual. And in the event that there was a car that was in a car seat that was in a vehicle in a collision, it needs to be properly disposed of. So there are guidelines of making sure that no other kiddo can use the car seat after it's been in a crash or damaged. If you ever find yourself, I hope and pray that would never happen for anyone. But if you or someone that you know is ever in a collision, contact your insurance, and you can get the car seat replaced with the receipts and whatnot. And that's why it's great to just ensure that the car seat is purchased or viable for use in Canada or approved for use in Canada. So when insurance is involved, that you don't have to pay out of pocket for a new car seat, and we can prioritize your kiddo's safety. Some last little bits is expiry dates. So expiry dates are very important to keep note of for car seats. Each car seat has their own, the shell of the car seat is made of typically styrofoam, and styrofoam has a finite lifespan. And for car seats that were in a collision, regardless of the impact of a collision, whether it's a little bump or anything more serious, the car seat absorbs that shock. So that's why we don't want to use car seats regardless of the impact of a collision. And why car seats are final sale. The minute it leaves the store premises, the car seat is final sale. And the expiry dates are very important because it not only is within the range of where the manufacturer has confirmed the proper use of the car seat, and some car seats, they have various different lifespans like show in the manual. So some go from 5 to 7 years. The combination car seats can extend perhaps up to 10 years for some of them. So just keep a note of that. And if you were to decide on expanding your family, or you want to pass down the car seat to someone else, that they're aware of those expiry dates, and you can put in your, if you use Google Calendar or something like that, a reminder. Or sometimes I like to give parents a tip of writing the expiry date on their manual if they have it in their glove box, and then it's ready to go for reference. Recalls you can see on Transport Canada and sign up for the recalls. But again, going back to registering your car seat, that's how you get notified right away about your specific car seat, and you'll get notified. And recalls aren't necessarily a bad thing. It means that the manufacturer took the initiative to better their car seat and their safety of their products. So a recall could just be maybe a different use of the existing product's features. or they might send a replacement kit for your existing car seat. It doesn't mean that the whole car seat needs to be replaced. Perhaps they send, an extra part that can be included in the use of the car seat, so it's up to par with the safety standards and kept up to date as well with what Transport Canada requires. The last thing I'll mention is unregulated products. So it could be, again, like I mentioned, that winter sleep sack situation that I often see, or mirrors. That's a question I always get. What's the deal with mirrors? Sometimes people like to have a mirror in front, and as they're driving, they're looking back at that mirror to check on their baby. It is parents' discretion, but I would say that anything that's not included in the car seat itself can be a projectile. And even if the mirror is secure around the headrest of the vehicle, in the event of collision, again, everything goes towards the collision, and it could weigh about double the weight of its original weight. And also for mirrors in particular, it could be a distraction to the driver, and we want drivers focused on the road. And if you are concerned, pull over, check your baby. But newborns especially are very noisy. They sound like pugs. So if you are kind of hearing some snuffling, and likely they're just snoozing away, or you can always have a caregiver sit at the back watching baby. But try to keep your trips relatively short too, if you are concerned. Conservatively, we say that babies can stay for rear-facing car seat 30 to 45 minutes. You can totally stretch it, but I don't love car seats being used as a sleep device, because it's kind of like sitting in an airplane. It's not very comfortable, and they can't really stretch like we can. So if you decide on taking a road trip or whatnot, have adequate pit stops, and then get your baby nice and stretched, or even for yourself, right? When you're having a pit stop, it's nice to get nice stretch in. So but what I don't love is when people use their car seats. It seems risky to wake a sleeping baby, but let's keep our babies safe. And even if they look comfortable, over an hour, you want to get them stretching, just so that it's not great for their joints being in that position for too long. So that's it in terms of all things car seats. I know it was a lot of information, but some local resources that you can look into for learning more about car seat safety, or your car seat in particular. Work with a CPST. You can contact CPSAC, so that's my little jacket here, cpsac.org, and there is a find a tech option, and you can find a tech who can educate you on all the things about your car seat. We love talking about car seat safety, so there are folks that will, that do it for volunteer. Of course, donations or tips are appreciated, but that's not why we do it. It is purely for educating families that they're using their car seat appropriately, correctly, and safely for every single ride. And there's also some great resources on Facebook as well, actually. I'll set it in our Facebook group, but there is a community called I believe it's called the Vancouver Fraser Valley Car Seat Safety, or Car Seat Technicians. There's also the Vancouver Island. I'll send it in the groups. I can't think of the top of mind, but there is a wonderful Facebook community of mix of parents and also car seat technicians asking for any tips on a particular car seat fit, or they'll ask questions about certain things that come up, and there are people that, if they are technicians, they'll write in brackets that they are a tech, or there are very experienced parents that have gone through all stages of various car seats, and they're very passionate about it. They will write not a tech, so you can see that in the differential of who's providing certified advice, or an experienced parent who is very passionate or informed of car seat safety, but they don't have the credentials to be able to speak on what is required for car seat safety. So I hope that was helpful in car seat safety. We covered a lot in the last 4 weeks, and I again, I'm very grateful that you are showing up. And for those that are listening into this workshop and the series, thank you so much for having me and utilizing me as another resource. And I wish you all the best in your new parenting journey. I wish you have an empowering birth experience and a smooth postpartum recovery. Whenever you have any questions, I'm here as a resource. Please reach out to me. You can also hit me up on my website. It's just birthtolife.com, or I'm starting to get a little better on my social media. On Instagram, I am starting to share car seat safety tips as well. It's something that is a very big passion of mine. So you can find me on Instagram at birthtolife.doula, and you can check out my videos, and I'll send some more resources on our Facebook group. So thank you so very much for hanging on with me the last 4 weeks. And please, again, utilize me as another resource if you have any questions, so we can keep all our littles happy and safe in this wild ride that is parenthood. So thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend ahead. Thank you very much. Oh, yes. Quick question. How much is it typically to hire a CPSD? So again, there are car seat techs who do for volunteer. And so they take donations or tips anywhere 0 to anything. We don't want it to be a financial barrier. So it is absolutely okay if there are financial barriers. And at least if you learn something, that's a big plus. So yeah, you don't have to hire someone ongoing. You can also, there's a lot of great resources online, or I love talking about car seat safety as well. So yeah, some people do volunteer. There's also certain technicians will do car seat clinics. So these are public events that they get, a group of technicians, and they all do car seat checks. And I didn't show this earlier, but when I do car seat checks, there is a form that we go through. This is an inspection form. So everything that we cover is basically, how the car seat is installed initially. And then if any adjustments need to be made, essentially gets all recorded. And this doesn't go anywhere. It's really just for car seat technicians like myself. If CPSAC were to audit that we are doing our job appropriately, but you don't get graded for this. It's purely for education. So really, really great. I would recommend working with a CPSD for a car seat check, or if you go on CPSAC, there are announcements on events, perhaps in your city, or if you follow any car seat technicians, they may have an upcoming event. Sometimes they'll have it at community centers, or they may partner with fire halls. Fire halls don't do car seat checks anymore, from what I've learned. So, again, we want to make sure that you are getting checked by someone that is certified, like a CPSD. So I hope that answers your question. Amazing. Thank you so much for showing up. And again, please keep the questions coming either online, or you can contact the Mamas for Mamas group as well if there's any questions you have. So if you don't have any other questions, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.